All right, in this video, I'm just gonna map out how you can acquire customer as an online coach, consultant, or perhaps an agency owner, and you wanna leverage content marketing and paid advertising to work for you when it comes to building a flywheel system, essentially that brings you hot lead, right? So you're getting warm, qualified leads on repeat, right? So first thing I'm just gonna mention here is your system for organic and also paid advertising. So I'm just gonna write it down here. So the way we wanna do things is actually to make both organic marketing and paid advertising to work for you and not the other way around. Some people, they just focus on organic marketing while other people just leverage paid advertising and they completely neglect essentially the organic marketing as well. So we want to bring them together to create this powerful system for your business to be able to create more leverage, right? So the way we actually want to do this is creating a flywheel system that essentially on repeat. So flywheel is like, for example, the flywheel could look like something like this. You creating content. So you have content. So basically you research your content, who your ideal client profile actually is. You create content for your organic, for your paid advertising. You create this content. Now what you do is you distribute them, you post them organically, you run some ads, right? And now as a byproduct of that, you're getting leads, you're getting appointments, and you're getting sales, right? And you do this on repeat. So it's like a circle that goes around, essentially. So that's what we want to cover in this video. And I'm assuming that you already have a high ticket program, whether it's a consulting, coaching, or an online agency or agency of any sort, basically. And you're trying to essentially attract your ideal client profile. And you want to do this in-house, ideally, or perhaps you want to, build a system in your business to whether that's hire a videographer or have a podcast system to create this content on repeat, or perhaps even get our help because we do this as an agency. We are based in Australia, so the clients that we work with, we also help. We're open to helping people who are overseas as well, whether you're in US, Canada, UK, wherever you're from, and you need this system. So I'm just going to walk you through how you can actually build a system in your business. So essentially, like I said as earlier, is that we want to have organic and we want to have paid ads. So what we want to do is the most important stage is to identify who our ideal client profile actually is. So you have a program, potentially you're selling $3,000, $5,000, $8,000, or even $10,000 and upwards, and you want to attract these people. So what you really want to know is these three things actually. Where you actually bring in traffic from. So I'm just going to write here traffic. So this is your traffic source. This is your lead, or I just write here lead. This is people opting in. And then your conversion mechanism, right? So it's a three-step process that we trying to create our funnel essentially in a way. So how you're driving this traffic into basically your social media, your funnel. A lot of you, perhaps if you're an online coach, you are leveraging Instagram. Instagram is very popular for online coaches, and you could be also leveraging YouTube. And you're bringing traffic from your organic content, maybe you're creating reels, you're creating YouTube videos, and you feel like organic isn't really enough. Then you step into like paid advertising, you creating a 30 to 60 second VSL basically explain your offer, make it sound irresistible. So more people raise their hand, they opt in to your funnel. Now, one thing with paid ads is that it's actually much harder to convert a lead coming from paid ads, cold traffic, than it is when someone is in your audience, they've been following your stuff, which is why I believe personally that you need to use both in order to build a system. Because the thing with organic is that you could be pushing out for algorithm to go viral, whereas if your program is like very, very specific, like 90% of your audience, or they won't ever buy, right? So 90% of your audience, even they become lead, you can't really do much with them unless you have like a low ticket recurring or low ticket opt-in before your high ticket, right? Because that's the truth, that's the reality. 90% of the leads, you can't really sign them up on your high ticket program. You probably have experienced this as well. So what we really want to do is, like again, like with organic, you can go viral, you can get thousands, millions of views, but 90% of them, you can't really do much with them. Only a smaller percentage of them, they become high paying clients, which is pretty good still, right? When you ask me that. But it's, the thing with organic is that you are going very broad. You're going people that aren't even, in your city. If you're an agency and you're working with local businesses, a lot of time people might be in overseas or other places that they're not really qualified to be your client, right? Whereas if you're an online coach, if your program is actually designed in a way that you can work, location isn't an issue, then that's actually a good place to go. But either way, go ahead, build an audience, but we also want to have like a paid ad system. So with a click of a button, you can turn it on and it's going to generate you leads predictably. Okay, so the reason why when we're running paid ads, we also need organic content, because as I mentioned earlier, is when you getting these leads, they're very cold. They're very, even though they've seen your offer, they opted in, it's much harder for you to sell them because they don't know who you are. They only heard your offer. And even though they opted in, they booked in a time with you to speak with you. Sometimes if you don't have the follow-up system, they're not going to show up on the call. You have to call them, do an intro call. You have to send them a sequence of SMS and email reminders, things like that, or testimonials to nurture them before the call, get them excited, all that sort of stuff. And when you have an organic presence that you can feed to these people, they see your presence, they see more of your case studies, testimonial, your educational or awareness type of content, your top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and bottom of the funnel type of content to nurture these people before they jump on a call with you. And you have to have a good sales process. So paid ads is much harder to convert, so you have to have a good sales process and be able to objection handle, all that sort of stuff, right? So like I said earlier, you want to have the traffic. So the traffic is, in this case, let's say, is your Instagram, it's your YouTube, and you're creating this content weekly. Maybe in a weekly basis, let's say you create 1 to 2 long form content, or maybe even 2 to 3 or more. And then you're creating short form, could be 3 to 5. Every day you could have a short form going out, depending on the frequency. So you could ideally go for 1 short a day and long form every other day, right? So aim for 2 to 3 if you can per week. And another thing when it comes to content actually is that before you could get away with getting less volume, but nowadays you just need more volume, and you need to have a better system to create this content in a batch format, in a system where you pre-plan all your content. You take a couple of hours, you pre-plan them, and you record them all at once in that week. Maybe you spend 2 hours, 4 hours to record all this content. Prior to that, you prepare them, and you have that content for that entire week. So you want to have a good system for this, because it all depends on the impressions you get, the quality of your content, and also like who actually sees them is very, very important. And then you want to drive some paid ads traffic to this. Let's say paid ads. You can you want to optimize it in a way that it's going to get you leads. So where I'm from, I'm in Australia, and if I don't get a lead within $25 to $30 cost per lead, then something's not right, because you have to set a benchmark where, you know, you spend a certain amount of money and you should be getting leads. If you're not getting, chances are it could be your creative, your offer isn't really irresistible, things like that. And then before you scale. So you can obviously start low, $10 to $20 a day, and scale it to 30, 50, or 100 and beyond. But as you increase your cost of lead and cost of book call is going to increase naturally. So that's something to be mindful of. And yeah, so we want to optimize this too. And whenever you're creating this content, you could be creating like a 30 to 60 second like VSL that basically that you can use for your paid ads. You can test VSL, you can test image creative to bring that traffic. So once you know the number of traffic that you're getting, then we want to see out of all this traffic, how many leads are opting in. Let's say in a situation, you're getting 100 visitors on your funnel, on your landing page, or you know, let's say you're getting thousands and thousands of impressions. People come into your funnel, whether it's your lead form, whether it's your messenger, whether Instagram messenger, whether it's, you want to see what is the percentage of people who actually visited that they're opting. Is it 5%? Is it 10%? Is it 20%? I'm just using this as an example. If it's less than 5%, you want to aim to get it to 5%. If it's 5%, find out how you can get it to 10%. If it's 10%, how to get it to 20%, so on and so forth. So you want to optimize it in a way that your funnel is actually working. So people are opting in whenever they come to your landing page, whenever they come to your social and things like that. This is where you can use different things like even UTM, unique link, tracking and all that sort of stuff. You can use a lot of analytics to see the backend, to actually track where these leads are coming from. Are they coming from Instagram? Are they coming from YouTube? Are they coming from paid ads? So, and then you can optimize accordingly, whatever is working, double or triple down on it. Now, the next step is your conversion mechanism. Out of all these leads that are coming in, how many people are you converting? Are you converting 1 out of 10 leads? Are you converting 1 out of 15 leads? 1 out of 20 leads? And then, not only that, so leads, they book in an appointment. So what is your book appointment to close ratio? Are you sitting at 25% or 20%? 1 out of 5, 1 out of 4, 1 out of 6. You want to find out, and ideally you want to get your conversion high as well. I would say 25% or more is ideal. If you're below that, you have to see what can be improved. Maybe there are times that the leads aren't really that qualified. You attracting your market, but they don't have that purchase decision. Maybe they're a startup, you're an agency, you work with online coaches, similar thing to what we do, and the leads you're getting, they're just startup, they're just under 10K a month, they're under 5K a month, or completely new, and they don't have the capital to invest. You know, so you want to be able to qualify for those things and make sure the right people are actually booking the call and things like that. If they aren't qualified, you can let them know early on so you don't waste each other's time. Anyhow, I hope you got some value out of this. This is essentially like briefly what I mapped out on how you can increase your conversion and create a flywheel system that works for you when it comes to organic and paid ads strategy for your business.